Tu te rends compte? J'en peux plus! Nickel. Oui, tranquille. These are just a few of my new French phrases that I love and that are real phrases that you might not learn in a book or in a class. And I think that they're really useful because, who doesn't want to sound like more native? But what I want to talk about today is how to learn real French online. And the way that I learned these phrases was actually through a French course by none other than the YouTuber Damon Dominique. So I want to take you through my experience of that course so far, give you some pros and cons, why I purchased it, who I would recommend this to, who I wouldn't recommend this to, so that you can make the best decision that you can about whether or not this course or something similar would work for your life. I'm not at all affiliated. I just have had a really fun experience with it, and I figured I would share because this could be useful if you've heard of it or if you're interested. So let's dive in. So if you are into the French YouTube scene, then you've probably heard of Damon Dominique. He has been traveling the world for years, and now he's kind of known as Mr. American in Paris. He does tons of videos about his life in Paris, and I think he's a really excellent filmmaker. So one of the reasons that I wanted to purchase this course is that I love his videos. I really appreciate that his style is so unique. And he's an American who has a really high level of French, like he's fluent. And I will say, I have a lot of respect for learning from native speakers. My teacher that I work with on a weekly basis, she's French, she's from France. And I think that it's really helpful to have a native speaker when you need to learn pronunciation, when you want to learn about cultural things. Like, native speakers can give you so much that a non-native speaker cannot. But what I think is nice about having a non-native speaker who is fluent in your target language teaching you that language is that they understand where you're coming from. Like, Damon understands my American brain and the way that he needs to explain something so that I get it. And that was honestly one of the biggest reasons why I thought this would be an interesting course, because I wanted to see his perspective, how he approaches learning French, and what he teaches. And perhaps not surprisingly, he teaches French that people actually speak. I'm sure we've all had experiences where you had to go through like the sports chapter in your language class, even though you've never played sports before. Hello. And you have to make sentences about like your favorite sport. And you're like, I'm never going to use this. Well, I think Damon provides a lot of solutions for if you're looking to learn French in a way that's like cool and has some attitude and is interesting and fun. And so for all of those reasons, I had no problem diving right into the course. So what is it exactly? Well, it's a course on Teachable. So if you've used Teachable, very simple. The curriculum is there. You move through each of the lessons. And I actually purchased the intermediate to advanced, but he also has a beginner to intermediate level as well. So within each module, there are the lesson notes, which is kind of the little textbook where he gives the explanations written down and some, examples. There's also some videos with him explaining and going into more detail. There are homework assignments that you can do. There's what do you call them? Like corrections for the homework assignments. And there's also a quiz. And I think that the quiz is really helpful because it's one thing to sit through an explanation. Like, you can watch a YouTube video about French grammar, but it's one thing to then watch that and move on with your day. And another thing to watch that and then have a chance to apply it. And he doesn't just quiz you on like traditional grammar, he also quizzes you if he throws in like a cool phrase that he thinks you should know. That'll show up in the quiz too. So you really are getting like the full spectrum from, things that are an absolute must to things that he thinks are fun and interesting that you would benefit from knowing. And I love that. I love that. Another nice thing is that you also get a lot of extra resources. So let's say that you want to watch more French stuff after you're finished with that module. He's going to give you other resources, maybe on YouTube, maybe articles to read, different things that you can continue immersing yourself in French, because isn't that what we're all trying to do out here, So that's a little bit of what the course is like. And I think this would be a great course if you are someone who works well on your own, if you have already committed yourself to kind of a schedule around French, and so because sometimes when you buy a course, it's like, when am I going to do this? If you've already committed to like showing up for your French studies, this is going to be great for you. It's also going to be great for you if you don't mind not getting personalized feedback. So for example, in the homework, he does give a review of the homework. So there are some cases where it'll be very clear you're just answering one thing. It's like a fill in the blank sort of situation. But there are other cases where it's more open-ended, and he might be asking you to write about what you did when you were in high school. And you won't necessarily get feedback on that. You'll get to see what he wrote, and you can kind of, self-correct by looking at what he wrote and see, oh, did I conjugate this correctly? But you're not going to get personalized feedback. So if you're someone who's good with that and you're like, I just want to be in it, I just want to be practicing, like it's okay if I'm not getting direct stuff, perfect for you. I also think that this is good if you're like ready to invest some money. It's not that much. It's not like thousands of dollars. It's less than $200, I think. I'll put the actual price below. But for a course that you are going to be able to hold on to and review, I have found it pretty affordable. Yeah, you may want to save up for it. Yeah, you may not want to just like on a whim purchase it. But I think in the scheme of things, it's a pretty reasonably priced course for everything that it includes and for what you're getting. So I think that if that sounds good to you, this course is going to be great. I would not recommend this course for you if you are someone who needs a group environment of like peers and a teacher to stay focused or to stay committed or motivated. It's also not for you if you want that direct feedback. You're not going to get direct feedback if you're taking an online course where it's pre-recorded. That's just like the nature of online courses like this, right? And so I would say if that's what you want, might not be for you. I would also say that it doesn't hit like all of the language boxes because of the lack of like a speaking element and also the lack of a like authentic native French pronunciation element. So I think that this is best used when it's used in tandem with other things. Like if you are taking a group class, or if you are working with a, professor one-on-one, or if you are, using other free resources or, having a conversation partner. I think this course would be phenomenal when it's a complement to other things, because let's be honest, nothing's going to give us everything probably, but I think this hits a lot of the boxes. So if you can fill in the other ones with stuff you're doing outside of this course, I think it's pretty comprehensive and could set you up really well. Now, I haven't finished the course, and the only one that I've experienced is the intermediate to advanced. And my other tip would be, okay, if you don't want to spend money, I get it. I don't know your life. I don't know your finances. But if you don't want to spend money, I would say get yourself to a place where you can invest in intermediate level things, because this is just my personal experience. You may have a different experience, but in my experience, you really can get yourself up, through that beginner level to a high beginner, lower intermediate on your own with resources that are free or very affordable. So if you want to go the budget route, do that. And you'll also be showing yourself that you're committed to this. Like if you are finding those resources and you are taking the time to do that, I have a couple of videos about it. I'll link them so you can look at them if you haven't already. But if you're spending the time to do that, you can rest assured that your money is going to be well spent because you already know and trust yourself to show up for yourself. And I feel like that's when these questions around like, do I spend money? Do I invest or not come up? Is like, is it going to be worth it? So if you have questions about that, give yourself a little runway to really show like, hey, I'm into this, and then buy it. So that's really all I wanted to say. I think that finding a teacher who teaches the way that you want to learn is really important. And if you are looking for like real French, Damon is definitely a teacher who is about that. He's not concerned with those things that you're going to use once in a million years. Like he obviously wants you to know your grammar, but also to be able to be yourself and have a personality. So I think that if that's something you're interested in, this could be a great course for you. Like I said, I'm not affiliated. I just have really enjoyed it, and I wanted to give you a little overview in case you were on the fence. So I hope it was helpful. And I'd love to know if you have other questions about this course or about learning French or, anything else related to this topic. The conversation is always open below. If you've taken the course, I would actually love to hear what your experience is. If you've done the beginner, if you've done the intermediate, whatever, I'm all ears. So if you want to hear more things like this, because I have a couple of other courses to talk about, let me know, leave me a comment, give this video a like so I know what's resonating with you. Subscribe if you haven't already. And thank you so much for being here. It truly means so, so much. And I hope you keep taking good care of yourself. So until the next video, I hope that you are well and safe and healthy, and I will see you very soon. Bye.